The UK Climate Change Commission has identified that we need around 2.7 trillion in investment if we're to enable the UK to transition to a low carbon economy. And that investment is across infrastructure and the energy transition. And today, for investors, their asset allocation processes and models don't really allow them to invest in the aspects of society and the economy that need to change. So to get capital to where it's really required, we as institutional investors need to change the way that we allocate capital and really invest in that transition to a low carbon economy. Royal London are members of the Institutional Investors Group on Climate Change, which is an investor coalition of over 330 members and covering over 39 trillion in assets. The IIGCC, as it's known, recently commissioned a Paris-aligned investment initiative, which was really set up to answer the question, how do we mobilise capital in a way that is aligned with the Paris Agreement? As phase one of that work, they've delivered the Net Zero Investment Framework, which provides a framework and tools for institutional investors through asset allocation, through to asset class assessment, and into stewardship policy and engagement to help investors align the capital they look after towards the goals of the Paris Agreement. So the important thing for institutional investors is to start to ask a different question. Not how do I optimize across my existing asset classes, but where is capital required in order to enable the transition to net zero? And if the financial instruments or products aren't there to help move the capital to where it's required, then that's where the financial services sector needs to step up and create the pipework to allow capital to flow. One of the reasons that thinking in this three-dimensional approach is so innovative is that it really requires a shift in thinking for those allocating capital. So normally institutional investors will follow a pretty prescribed process when they're allocating capital. They will have a list of allowable assets which all have different kind of financial risk metrics associated with them, and they will look to optimize across those risk metrics. And so it's quite a linear process. And what we're suggesting now is that we need to step outside that two-dimensional process and really look at where is capital required in order to enable a society that we all want to live in. And that is the piece that is new and different for the sector to start to think about. So it really shifts the question around on its head. Instead of optimizing for a return, how do we invest in society and the infrastructure to create a future worth living in?